Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, Stories from the 78 here in the River North neighborhood, talking to you about the Chicago International Film Festival in its 60th year. I'm going to talk to the founder, Michael Kutza, who will talk about the history of it, why he started it all those years ago. That is this story from the 78. Let's go say hi. All right, so you're looking at some of the artwork for the original Chicago International Film Festival, and I'm here with the person that kind of started the whole thing. Michael, how are you?
I'm terrific. It's a beautiful day. I'm glad you came over here.
Yeah, thank you so much. For full disclosure, we're inside your house here, 40 floors up from Chicago, and surrounded by what you love, which is film, Chicago, bringing Chicago to Hollywood, or Hollywood to Chicago, if you will. How do you want to phrase?
And great architecture, too.
Absolutely great architecture, but talk about a little bit about the Chicago International Film Festival and everything else.
When I started the festival, it's King Vidor, famous Academy Award director, helped me start it. I was just a kid.
And you're 22 years old?
22, and he was dating Colleen Moore, who was a silent film star, and of course he made a lot of films with her, and she was the highest paid female in Hollywood in 1927, Colleen Moore. That's her date.
Speaking of silent film, you got some Charlie Chaplin. Is that autographed by Charlie Chaplin?
No, I could have done that. I met Charlie in 1971, but I never did that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But we're in your space here. Let's take a little walk and look at some of this artwork that you have on the walls.
So a lot of the films we show at the festival come from the Cannes Film Festival, or Berlin, or Venice. And one year we actually honored Harold Lloyd because he was a friend of Colleen's, which made it easy for me to grab hold of him. And terrific guy.
Very helpful.
Actually a dirty old man, but that's not important. I talk about that in my book.
Right. You wrote the book Starstruck.
Yes. And anyone that has ever come to my apartment, or anywhere I live, signs this book.
Why is that?
It's a memory that you'll sign it later.
Okay. Well, who was some of the folks that you've had in there that people might know?
Well, right here is Jacques Demy. Now, Jacques Demy, a French director. Do you ever remember the Umbrellas of Cherbourg?
Sure.
Well, he did that.
Okay. He
was here for the festival, one of our juries, and you can go through all kinds of things. You find Sophia Loren in here somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Anyone that came through these doors, I kept them.
Very good. And there's the book that we were talking about right there.
I did my first book. I thought when I retired from the festival, I might as well spill all the beans and behind the scenes of what goes on there. I'd never written a book before. It's a great success. People love it. And we'll talk about it.
That and the film. So what made you want to start the film festival at such a young age, at 22 years old?
Well, to avoid becoming a doctor, I guess, is the real reason. I'm going to sit in one of these theater seats. Do you mind? Sure.
Where are these seats from?
From the Granada Theater, which is right there.
Oh, look at that.
As they were tearing it down.
And you had one of the festivals in that space before it looked like that.
We used it for years.
Yeah?
For years, until they tore it down. Yeah. In those days, we could actually fill it with 3,000 people. Wow. And today with Netflix and all, you'd be lucky to get 10 people in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I come from a family of doctors. Mother, father, aunt, uncle. Everybody's a doctor. So needless to say, you don't have much choice. The pressure is on. So I go to Loyola, pre-med and all that, and I really don't want to do this, but I can't break their hearts, so I go through with it. I get thrown out. Because while I was at Loyola, I spent more time producing the musical shows for them. And I'm having more fun with that rather than cutting up dead rats and pigs.
Sure.
So my dad got me back in school. I still couldn't say to him, I don't want to do this. An older generation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then 60 years now, the Chicago International Film Festival that you started. So we won't even talk about the math, but talk about what that means for the city of Chicago, because for a long time, Chicago kind of shunned Hollywood in terms of wanting film here, but not because of the mayor, not because of the people probably here, but now people, there's movie studios, there's TV studios here. Like, what does that mean to you by starting something years ago like that?
Back up a bit, because before Hollywood, Chicago was Hollywood.
Right, it was silent capital, right?
Over there at Argyle and Lawrence Avenue, you got SNA Studio. It's still there, sound stages. They're made into a school now. but they're still there because we did a party there for Geraldine Chaplin, Charlie's daughter, during the festival, and we put it in the Charlie Chaplin studio, which they call it there. I said, it's all there. Charlie only made one film here in town because it's too cold. He moved, and Keystone Cops were here, and Gloria Swanson, but they moved it all to California.
Oh.
Because it's too cold. Now, as you say, we're booming right now to a point because we built some studios, finally. It took over the old Ryerson steel plant and turned it into wonderful. That CineSpace is incredible. Maybe too late, I don't know. They only have 4 productions going right now. And I'm checking on how things are, and it's not going to be much more than that this year, which is not good.
What causes that to go? Is it the tax increments? Is it just what Hollywood is?
They come here because we give very good. Illinois gives 30% of your budget, I believe. However, you must use a lot of Chicago talent, which is, I think, okay.
Right.
So that's that. But when I started this festival idea, I was making movies, short films, and entering them all over the world. Because there's nothing, you couldn't show anywhere in Chicago. And I started winning prizes and things. And I thought, I got to see that there's a lot of wonderful films in the world that my city, I'm from Chicago, I live in Austin in the old days. I realized Chicago is this great city. They have no idea what's going on in the world, and I wanted to change that. So I got a bunch of friends, volunteers and stuff from college, and said, let's put together a giant event and bring the world to Chicago. When I started this thing, there was no Toronto or Sundance or Montreal or Tribeca, Telluride. None of that existed in 1965. And so Herb Kupson, a columnist at the Sun-Times, he's like my mentor, and he says, if you really want to do this thing, Mike, he called me Mike, I'm going to introduce you to someone named Colleen Moore. She was a silent film star in the 20s, highly paid, married a lot of important men, and now she retired. She lives in Chicago. And I'm going to introduce you to her, and maybe she can help you. So I go to lunch at her house on the Gold Coast, or whatever you call it, and we instantly bonded. And she said, sure, I'll help you. I think she really wanted to get back in the business again. So she was probably in her 60s, but very feisty and fun. And she said, well, first of all, there's a problem. You're too young. I said, yes. So she gave me a pair of Harold Lloyd glasses, which is that poster back there you saw. A pair of Harold Lloyd glasses. She said, you're going to wear these, and you're now going to be 27 years old. So I was 27.
She Hollywood you.
I was 27 for 5 years. And then at lunch, she said, come on to lunch today, meet some people. So I'm sitting there at lunch at her beautiful house, and I'm sitting next to Myrna Loy. Now, I knew the face was familiar, this older woman, and looked like someone I saw in the movies, but I didn't, as I say in the book, I didn't really do my homework, so I didn't really know what I'm up against. But the next day, I did know who Joan Crawford was, and she had lunch there. And then we went across the street to the pump room, and there was Lillian Gish. And then King Vidor, the famous film director. And it just went on and on. So I got involved, and she got involved in the whole world of film of bringing to Chicago, and she got me starstruck.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pump room, and the pump room was a famous spot for years and years.
It was across the street from her house.
Oh, convenient.
Right.
And Frank Sinatra even had a booth at the old pump room.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Taylor had the suite on top or something. So the pump room, the reason it worked at that time for everybody was, especially for Colleen, you took the train, the 20th Century Limited, from New York, and you had to stop in Chicago to change trains, but you stayed the night at the Ambassador East Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the pump room is. So it was convenient. They all wanted to see Colleen and how you're doing after retiring, so they'd all pay a visit to her, like
she was like
icon.
the mayor.
That's right.
In a good sense, I mean, right?
It's wonderful. And we'd go there and back and forth. Then you took the train, Union Pacific, I think it is, out of the way to California.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how you do it. I mean, jet planes were just coming along. So that's how I got access to so many wonderful people. Anyway, the thing blossomed. First film festival was at Poster, as you showed. 1965 in November, a very cold November, snowy in fact, at the Carnegie Theater, no longer there. Well, the irony is the Carnegie Theater is, on Rush Street, you've got Gibson's.
Yeah.
Next to Gibson's is Hugo's Frog Bar.
Yeah.
Hugo's Frog Bar was the Carnegie Theater.
Huh.
It even uses the same marquee up there saying Frog Bar, you say Carnegie.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Anyway, I know you didn't know. That's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you these things.
Absolutely.
So it was terrific. Big opening night, world premiere American film, and nobody came. Yeah.
A little rough start, huh?
Nobody came. In the snow. And the people from the film, they kept saying, well, where's the audience? I said, I'm sure they're gonna be here, I'm sure, but. So 500 empty seats. It was pretty embarrassing. So the newspapers killed me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was heartbroken because I was a kid. The Tribune said, yeah, the kid, he bit off too much, that he can chew, and blah, 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 blah. It went on and on. And I called Colleen, I said, I'm basically crying to her. And she says, oh, Michael, don't believe journalists, don't believe critics. They're not important. They throw those reviews, we wrap dead fish in those reviews and throw it out in the garbage. I said, all right. So the second year comes up, the second festival. People start to come. And at that one, I happened to, with Colleen's help, I started to invite more stars and people. First festival, I was discovering directors. Bill Friedkin, nobody ever heard of him, so they didn't come.
Director of The Exorcist, French Connection.
Yeah, exactly. And a Chicago boy.
Yeah, he just had a street named after him up at his old high school.
Okay. And who else? Krzysztof Zanussi, a Polish director, was nobody, but he became a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went on like that. So the second festival, I had Otto Preminger, film director, and Harold Lloyd. I thought, why not bring back someone from the silent era like Colleen? And he was a terrific, terrific guy. And now I have his glasses. And it was at the Playboy Theater. The second festival was at Playboy. Hefner had a theater. It was on the corner of Dearborn and Division. It has many names over its lifetime. It was the Dearborn Theater. It was the Surf Theater. So Playboy bought it, made the Playboy Theater. Really, really cool for its era, the 66. So Harold was really very friendly. And he said to me, you see that girl over there? I said, yeah, that cute little college girl. I want to meet her. I said, what? Can you fix me up with her? I said, first of all, I'm in awe of you, right?
Right.
I didn't say that to him. And now you want me to pimp for you, too?
Yeah, wow, okay.
That just kept happening. I said, you're a dirty old man. He said, yes, I am. Yeah.
And here we are 60 years later.
I can't believe that. Stop saying that.
Robert Zemeckis is getting an award, a Chicago boy from, I believe he's from Roseland, south side of Chicago, and who's done mega movies and really puts Chicago on the map as far as directors from a city. I mean, he's done some of the most iconic movies that have ever been made.
So here's an interesting fact about the festival. Besides showing you the world, I wanted to introduce first-time directors. And so the first feature and the second feature. And Bob is a perfect example. We showed his student film he made in the 70s, his first thing. Mm-hmm. Same with Oliver Stone. We showed his first film.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Another iconic director.
3 Oscars. He's wonderful. He's really fun to be with. He taught me how to drink tequila.
How do you do that?
You just keep drinking it.
Just keep drinking it, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he loves tequila. Anyway, Taylor Hackford did lots of cool films, and he's married to Helen Mirren. Showed his first film.
Wow.
Martin Scorsese is probably the most important one in the sense that his was in 1967. He sent his student film he made into a feature film and entered it. We loved it, and that's when Roger Ebert was just starting out. He graduated college in Champaign, and his first job was to cover the Chicago Film Festival.
Huh.
And he saw this Scorsese film. And he just wrote about it endlessly. Masterpiece, this is the new Fellini, this is the new everything. And they became great friends. And it was about 2 years ago here at the Economic Club, giving a big party for themselves. 1,100 people at the Hilton. Mm-hmm. Scorsese is the speaker. And he sits there on stage, and the very first thing out of his mouth is, Chicago is very important to me. I started my career here, and if it wasn't for that guy over there, Mike, nobody calls me Mike, Mike Kutza, I wouldn't be here. I thought, this is very nice.
That's probably the highest compliment you can get.
Yeah, I'm not very good with compliments, though, but I liked it, and I thought, wow. He came back many times with his next film and next film, which is true of all of them. Oliver would come back with a new film, and Zemeckis is coming back for his third time with this new film, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything he's ever done. It's like anything, I've never seen a film like this. It's called Here.
Here, yeah.
It's worth your time.
How long does the festival run for?
Festival, it just opened Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it runs for about 12 days. I'm seeing a lot of films, in fact, because I've been doing this book promotion. I haven't gone to festivals like in France or Italy. So I'm getting caught up because what we always did in the programming department was pick the winners of everything from Berlin, Sundance, Cannes, Venice, even Toronto. And so it's sort of like the festival circuit. You put the best stuff and bring it here. And it's a quick fix. And my team, my new team, my children that I've trained have done that. So I've got 3 films today to see, and 3 tomorrow. And I'm very excited. The important thing about having these film festivals is to get you out of your sofa, away from Netflix and Max and all the rest, and go see the real thing on a big screen with the director,
right?
That you can talk to afterward. That's what makes a film festival work. So, anyone who's never been to a film festival, you should really check it out.
Very unique experience.
Oh yeah.
And folks might be lucky enough to run into you at one of these screenings.
I'm in the third row. I like to say close. Third row on the aisle.
Third
always.
row. Always.
Because that way, the film is way up there, and it's like my movie.
Sure.
It's like a private thing. You know, it's interesting, seeing 2 films last night. People are wearing masks again in the theater.
Really?
Young people.
Well, a lot of young people are on TikTok and all those things, and some things are on there that perhaps maybe not true or true, but people believe everything they see on on social media, right?
I haven't gotten my flu shot yet.
Well,
or my COVID shot yet.
Well, you got time. It's still mid-October.
October is when I usually get a flu shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For folks that want more information about the festival, is there a spot you want them to go to check out, or perhaps they can buy tickets and all that stuff?
Easy. Just at ChicagoFilmFestival.com. You know, like going about me, you do MichaelKutza.com.
And that's where
for you.
Right, and that's where I think you had your book out here at some point.
Right there, like at the table.
Yeah, I'm going to go shoot this over here. And Michael Kutza, thank you for letting me hang out with you in your beautiful apartment here, condo that has all of this memorabilia, this view. Right when I walked in, you're like, that's Chicago.
Really, it is. And you know, like New York, you'd have the buildings on top of each other, so you would never see this. But there are no unobstructed.
No, you got a nice, beautiful view here. You can see Lake Michigan.
All the way around.
All the way around. Here you are in your house filled with
Yeah,
unbelievable.
let's look at some of this stuff in here.
Sure, you lead the way. We'll walk a little bit.
Okay.
Got the nice branding on the shirt you're
And
wearing.
there's the first poster of the Toronto Film Festival, the very first, when they used to call themselves a festival of festivals, because they did the same thing. They'd pick up everything of the other festivals and make a festival.
Yeah, that's
So here's my messy office, but lots of awards and that's that Granada Theater up here
spin around here.
that you saw in the other room. That was opening night of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975.
Another
What a
classic.
beautiful place, like the Uptown.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll see a movie in the Uptown again, huh? We'll hope.
You'll see a concert.
Yeah, but you never know. They might throw an old retro movie in there. You never know. We'll see.
What do we have? I was thinking of Colleen Moore. That's her way up there.
Oh, look at that.
At her heyday in the 20s. And Colleen has a fascinating story. A Star is Born
Well,
is written about her life.
oh, really?
Her husband also did walk into the water to kill himself.
Yeah.
But he was saved by John Garfield, who lived next door.
And look at all these books.
Yeah.
You're a wealth of knowledge, sir.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for taking time to chat with us. You can purchase the book anywhere right now, online or your website.
Even at the film festival, they have it, because I still want you to go to the film festival to
Yes.
see things. You know, that'd be cool.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, that is the story from the 78 here in the River North neighborhood. TomBarneyChicago@gmail.com if you have a story from the 78 suggestion. Hit me up at the website storiesfromthe78.com. How cool is that? Look at this view. Just randomly walking outside. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good weekend.